There's a brutal heat wave coming through my geographic region, and it's almost the 4th of July. So I've got a really long weekend, so I thought I'd share with you what are the things that I'm itching to cast on, and what might I be picking up to read since I'm going to have a bit of downtime. So grab a beverage, let's dive in. Welcome back, friends. If you are new here, my name is Melissa. I am the dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Company. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, friend. So, like I mentioned, it is sweltering. I am on the eve of a major heat wave coming through. In fact, my energy company, I think, is doing one of those energy savings days, and so it is very hot in my house right now. And then we also have the 4th of July, so it's going to be a really slow weekend. I don't plan on going anywhere and doing anything, so I am itching to cast on a couple of new projects. I have some things that I'm just kind of dying to read. I will give you a brief update on some of the things I've been working on. There's not been a ton of progress, except on a few things, like I haven't touched my blankets. Let's talk about the things that I want to cast on. So the first thing that I have been wanting to cast on for about a month now is the Twisted t-shirt by Briana Lupinno. And I picked this out to use the new summer book club yarn from Frogget Yarn. It's called Violet, This Await Is Not a Villain Anymore. That was the cozy fantasy book in the book box. I did not get that box. I ordered the yarn separately. And so, sorry for the crinkling, but the presentation is just so beautiful. So it is this beautiful, I have 3 of them right here. And so it's this beautiful sort of variegated colorway. And then I have a tonal in what I think is Rosy Posy, which is this one. This one is the color that was used in their box. It's kind of an odd frog for me, for them. I have these 5 skeins to make this t-shirt. When I first got the yarn in the mail, I wanted to cast on right away, but it was the beginning, I want to say it was the beginning of June. I was prepping for 2 fiber festivals in the month of June, and I just could not wrap my head around casting on at that point, no matter how much I wanted to. I was closing out the school year. I was in those final few weeks with my students, and so I needed to push through my actual responsibilities before I could cast on. I'm now, beginning of July, ready to cast this on. I need to wind them up. The speckle will be the Bane color, but I will probably use this pink color for the neck and the bottom, and use this for my sleeves. But that edge of all of them, I will, like on the edge of this, I'll put a round or 2 of this. On the edge of this, I'll put a round or 2 of this, just to kind of tie everything together. I'm super excited to cast this on. I think it's going to be really beautiful. The other project that I want to cast on is the Avenue tank by Tori Yu. And that is because Andrea over at Karcher Makes and Shannon over at Shenanigans and Skeins here on YouTube, I'll link them both down below, as well as Frogget. They are kind of buddy knitting that Avenue tank, and I was catching up on YouTube videos last week that I hadn't seen, and I decided, I just sent them both a text and was like, hey, I think I want to get in on this buddy knit. And they were like, you absolutely should. We're not that far along. So then it was just a matter of deciding on color. And I have chosen a color. I am going to use my romance revival. This is on sport weight. And this is for my summer book club. This is a summer book club colorway for me for August for the new Christina Lauren book called The Romance Revival. And I think this will make a super fun tank top. So I'm going to get in on their buddy knit. So I'll be winding this up soon as well. The other thing that I want to cast on, if you've been around here for some time, you know that I have been doing the Freckled Whimsy. I'm part of her this is year 2 of her Christmas winter subscription, and I did all of year 1. I never cast on a single one of them, and I was pretty good about casting on for this year, because I said if I was going to do it this year, then I needed to knit these socks. And I successfully knitted January, February, March. There's been a couple months that I haven't liked the colors or I've set them aside. I still am on the lone skein of the one that I have been working on. I haven't touched it. I just need to finish this and then cast on the second one. But today I went to my P.O. box and July was in here. And I'm going to tell you right now that I literally gasped when I opened the package when I got in my truck, because it is so beautiful. Definitely Christmassy. It is called Christmas Poinsettia. And it is these beautiful shades of like greens with white and this pinkish red color. I am in love with this. I don't even know what it looks like in its self-striping glory, but I'm in love with it. So this is going to get wound up, and these are getting cast on regardless of what's going on over here. Okay? So I'm thinking I will cast on all 3 of these projects this weekend. Socks are really kind of nice. I was going to say, because if we were sitting outside with the dogs, I'm not sitting outside with the dogs. It's going to be too dang hot. But this is a really nice, small type of project. I don't anticipate us going anywhere because I'm doing a bunch of meal prepping today so that I don't even have to turn my oven on come these 100+ days that we're due to have here shortly. I am doing a buddy knit with Tasha over at Frogget Yarns. We are both doing the Honey Petal cardigan, and we are using Holst yarn. She's doing, I think, the color Cocoa. It's a cotton wool blend, and I think hers is Cocoa. It's this really pretty brown that almost kind of leans pink. I don't know. It's such a unique color. I don't even really know how to describe it. I'm holding Ice, Sea, and Putty together. So I know that they probably don't, they look different here, but when I actually knit them, they're definitely a lot different. This I am knitting on a US 4. This is where my 4s are when I was looking for them. I have not touched this in a really long time. I'm just now finishing up my first set of skeins. I've done a few, like maybe an inch past my sleeve split. I didn't touch it for a really long time because Tasha was so far behind me, but she has since caught up. I know that she has split for sleeves. I don't really know. We haven't talked about it to see where she is. I know that I also, even though she said, oh, you can pick yours back up, I'm almost caught up or whatever, I know that I didn't for a while because I am having, or I have been having, some like neck and shoulder issues on the left-hand side. I'm left-handed, and I know it stems from repetitive movement, overuse, particularly when I'm dyeing yarn. And it's something that happened about a year ago. And, the beginning of this year, I went to see a couple orthopedics. I have one for my neck, one for my shoulder. I've done the MRIs, and I've had an injection in my shoulder. I've gone to physical therapy for months now, and I'm still in a fair amount of pain. It's in my arm, which, believe it or not, is connected to your cervical spine. And so I'm scheduled next week to go get basically steroid injections in a couple places in my spine to see if that will just kind of alleviate, like, get those muscles to kind of unclench the nerves. But purling, for the longest time, none of my pain really bothered or interfered with my knitting. But I'd say in the last month or so, I've definitely noticed it impacting my knitting. So I do think it has something to do with all the prep of trying to get ready for festivals, and then just kind of agitating everything that's going on. I've obviously made mobility changes. I've changed the way that I do things or the way that I move. I did, believe it or not, I bought a nursing pillow online, and that kind of like props up my elbows. And so that has definitely helped alleviate any kind of discomfort in this whole shoulder arm region. I have noticed, I have kind of taken a break, like I've kind of stepped back. I'm not knitting as much, particularly purling, because whatever that movement is, even though I'm left-handed, so I'm kind of a hybrid continental knitter, there's still a subtle of enough movement that kind of gets agitated. So I have not done a ton of purling because it just doesn't feel great, or I only get so far and then I have to put it down. But I have put in some work on some of my other projects, and the first one is my So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry. Again, I'm not fading anything. I used it for the numbers, just a basic raglan. This is using the Gingerbread Bakery color by Frogget Yarns. Let's kind of tidy up the skein a little bit. This colorway was a weekly sock set colorway for her last year for Advent. She's kind of reworked it a little bit. It is so pretty. It is now up on the website, so you too can get yourself some. But I have done a couple of inches. This is a fingering weight sweater. It's probably prettier on the back. I love the subtle color movement, but yet it's still a neutral of enough palette that this would make just a really nice, easy sweater to grab and go if, on the weekends, or if I have to go somewhere dressed a little nicer, that kind of thing. So I have made some progress on that. I have made a fair amount of progress on my DRK Everyday Sweater using my Drift DK. I'm using this, I think I called this Minted. Well, oh no, I think I called this Sea Breeze because it reminds me of, remember that astringent we used to put on our faces? Yeah. So I have done a significant amount of this. I have just kind of recently started my second ball, but I am a few inches down. This I pick up periodically. Again, it's in the round and round, like the So Faded, so it's easy to pick up, but I really want to have that ready as a sample for the truck or the mobile yarn trailer come October. Festival season for me doesn't start until October. So I'm excited about that. But the other thing that I have made a ton of progress recently is my bibliophile shawl with Paisley Pearl designs. And it uses a micro sock set or hot half sock set from Frogget Yarns. And they are based on book covers that were picked out the end of last year. And so every month I get a pattern update and we do a short pattern section, and then we have a garter ridge with the mini of the sock set, and we just keep on going. And I was really behind. Like, just a couple of weeks ago, just last week, I want to say, I was stuck halfway through April, which was this section with the pink. So I finished April, get my yarn, and I have done May, and we have like 1.5 repeats for June. I've done one. I just need to do another 1.5. Needless to say, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of progress that I've made on my bibliophile shawl. This is the June section, and this is the last section that we're increasing. So after this, it'll be on the decreasing end. So I think this is going to be a pretty decent size shawl to use. I will say that even though we're ordering these smaller sock set sizes, there is a fair amount of yarn left over. So I will probably end up, part of me feels like I have enough yarn left over to make a whole second one, but I will probably see if I can squeak out shorty socks with the leftovers. That's pretty much all my knitting. That takes us into what have I been watching. For a long time, I hadn't really been watching anything, and then I got really excited. If you are Carly Fortune, she's an author of books. If you are a fan of hers, you probably are well aware, like the rest of us, that Every Summer After is adapted for a limited series on Netflix. I think it was Netflix. No, Amazon Prime. And I was super excited for this. I am a huge Carly Fortune fan. So it had been a few years, though, since I had read the book. So characters were not top of mind, per se. So as soon as that came out, I binged it basically that whole day. And I really enjoyed it, though I do recognize why diehard fans of that particular book were not happy with it. But it kind of reignited in me this idea of wanting to kind of go back to that 90s rom-com kind of feel for movies. There was sort of a nostalgia to it. So somehow after that, I jumped onto, there was a new Jennifer Lopez movie with, what is his name? Bradley Goldstein. He played Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. They were in a movie on Netflix called Office Romance. And it is definitely just a traditional, corny Jennifer Lopez movie. I loved it. There is one scene that is rather cringy. I could have done without it. But overall, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. And then I kind of fell into this lull and was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to watch? And so then I was a little bit behind, but I decided to watch Off Campus on Amazon Prime. And I really enjoyed that. I didn't binge that in a whole day. It maybe took me 2 days, but I was kind of obsessed with it, and now I want to read that book series and all the subsequent like spin-off book series that um she has written. Then a couple weeks ago, or last week, I watched on Netflix, there's a new movie called Voicemail for Isabel. And again, it's kind of that nostalgic almost. There's a lot of 90s movie references in it. Not directly referencing them, but you kind of feel like it. Like it reminds you of things, of movies like uh 10 Things I Hate About You, She's All That. Like there are definitely scenes that are reminiscent or replicating scenes in other movies that were at the height during the 90s, early 2000s. So Voicemails for Isabel, I really enjoyed. I will say, if you're going to watch it, you haven't watched it yet, you're going to want Kleenex, particularly if you are a sister to a sister, especially if you're like me and you're an older sister and you have a younger sister. You cry through the whole movie. Like you cry with like the first 5-10 minutes. It's kind of crazy, but it's kind of like that good crying. It's just a really, I don't want to say wholesome, but it just is, it's a really nice movie. Very sweet. It does have moments where you laugh, you're crying. It's a good time. And that brings me into what have I been reading? And I've been reading a ton. I'm not going to get into everything. I'll just kind of go through some highlights and then tell you what I've got kind of planned that I definitely want to make my way through for the month of July. So I listened to The Calamity Club. I will tell you right now, this audiobook is something like 28 hours long, but I was listening to it on a few drives. I really enjoyed this. It is by the same author who wrote The Help. It does take place in Mississippi or Alabama, one of those like deep South states. You kind of have, the chapters are written from two different perspectives. You have a orphan in an orphanage, so you're getting it from her perspective. You're also getting it from the sister of a woman who volunteers in that orphanage. It's sort of right around the Great Depression, like, so it's sort of where the economic ripples, it didn't matter really what economic class you were in, everyone was feeling it. And so you're following these two timelines, but they're kind of interwoven and they do intersect towards the end. I thought this was a really beautiful book, but I also enjoyed The Help. This one is definitely a really long book, but if you can get through the first, I'd say 20% of it, where you're really just, there's a lot of setup and there's a lot of characters and you're kind of getting the lay of the land. And if you can make it through that, I think it's a really great book and you're going to love it. I also read The Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. This is probably my favorite book by her yet. This was my June pick for summer book club. You can still get the colorway called Perfect Storm on my website, on Fingering, Sport, DK, or Worsted. In this one, you're following a girl and a guy that were best friends growing up. They've kind of gone separate ways. She gets basically stood up at her wedding, and then he decides that they should still go on her honeymoon. So this is friends to lovers. You've got a couple different timelines. You're kind of going back and forth from when they were younger to when they were older. This is a beautiful story. Just beautiful. I think she does an amazing job at writing characters that you really kind of feel what they're feeling. This is a really great book. It is a little bit on the bigger side. It's about 400 pages. Yeah, 402. So I think most summer books are between three and 400 pages. So this is at the top end of what I consider great beach reads, but this is a good one. Another one that I recently finished, this one came out, you may have seen it because it's all over Bookstagram and Book Talk, but this one is called Dolly All the Time by Annabelle Monaghan. She's another like summer author. I think I've only read one other of her books, but several have been recommended to me, so I will probably work through her backlist as well. For this one, we're following Dolly, and she has gone back to, I think it's Nantucket, where she grew up on the island. Her dad isn't able to take care of the home. It's kind of in disarray. She has a brother who had a head injury. She's a single mom. Her son is like 11. She runs into Stuart, who is like one of the sons of like the really wealthy family on the island. And she ends up, it's a fake dating situation where he needs a girlfriend to get a promotion in the family business, and he essentially pays her, like they have a contract set up, and it's going to allow her to like fix the roof and something else on the house that had caught fire that hadn't been repaired. So it's mutually beneficial for both of them from a contractual standpoint, but obviously it's a summer beach read. It's a romance, so they end up falling in love. This was a really good one. It sounds rather superficial, poor girl falling in love with a rich guy, but it was definitely more than that. They had their issues. Those are probably the 3 books that are the highlight so far in the past month that I've read. So let's talk about what's kind of on my July to be read pile. So last weekend, it was really kind of dreary here. It's kind of a rainy weekend. And I started The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. Now, I have only read The Perfect Couple after it was on Netflix. So this one is coming out I think it's on Amazon. No, it's on Peacock. On Peacock, this is coming out as a movie or a series, I don't know, with Jennifer Garner. And so I really wanted to, instead of doing what I did last time and watching the Netflix series and reading the book, I wanted to read the book. So I have started this. I got a used copy. Like there's still some gunk on it. There's like a tear in it, but I bought a used copy on Thrift Books for like $5. And so I'm working my way through this. That series starts next week, so I would love to finish this week or this weekend. The other book I just got in the mail is It Could Have Been Her by Lisa Jewell. I'm a huge Lisa Jewell fan. This is like an auto-buy author for me. And I didn't get an advanced copy of this. I don't even know what the story's about. Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't even know what it's about, but I'm going to read it. She is an amazing thriller author. She's the kind of author that you're just kind of reading along and it feels like general fiction. You're just going along with the story. And then out of nowhere, it's usually right around like, I'd say that 75% mark that she just starts whipping out the plot twist. And they're not scary per se, but you're like, damn. So I'm intrigued to read this one. These are usually a really quick read for me, particularly if I start reading them at night. This one is 369 pages. So I'm looking forward to starting that one. And then this Belle Burden memoir called Strangers. I think this may have been an Oprah book club pick. I don't know. She interviewed the author on her podcast. I've seen clips of it on social media. But this is this woman's memoir of her divorce, which just was really like blindsiding and pretty horrific. I got this for like $15 at TJ Maxx, I think. It just happened to be, they had like a small bookshelf and this was just randomly on there. And I was like, oh, well, I've been meaning to read that. So I just grabbed it at half price. It just kind of made sense. This one is, I don't think, very long. Yeah, this one's 200. Oh, those are still acknowledgments. Yeah, 237 pages. So I could probably get through this fairly quickly. But I am intrigued just based off of listening to the author talk about her experience. And then, of course, because I got obsessed with Off Campus, I did go ahead and order the first book. And there are 5 books in this first series, and then there's a spin-off, and then there's another spin-off. I don't know, there's probably like 13 or 14 books altogether in the series. But this is based on the first one. I'm going to read this. If I like it, then I'll continue with the series. So as Off Campus continues, I think they started filming season 2 already. It's the type of book series where every book follows a different couple in the friend group. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the last book I've actually owned for a while. Yeah, this was June of last year. And this is called The Summer We Ran by Audrey Ingram. This is like falling in love with the boy next door type of thing. And then it's like a couple decades later, they both are like running for the governor of Virginia or something. They were coming of age, boy next door type of thing. They kind of fell in love as kids. It didn't last, didn't go anywhere. And now they're kind of like competing against each other. So I don't know. It intrigues me. Like I said, I've had it for about a year. This one is, I don't think, did you hear that spine crack? This one's 324 pages as well. So we'll see. I also want to get through Love You More by Emily Giffin. This one comes out July 7th. So this is my July book club pick. So that one I will get sometime next week in the mail. So I'm excited to start that one too. There are other books, like I have quite a few audiobooks that are advanced copies for some authors that I really love. There's a new Jennifer Hillier book, which is a thriller author. I have that. I have a couple of romance books that just came out or coming out in the next week. I have those to listen to. So I have plenty of things to listen to, but I am definitely in a romance phase. I want to watch romance. I want to read romance. I'm just going back to probably what I would consider my roots. Like that was my bread and butter since I was a reader. I read all the Sweet Valley High books, and I grew up, during my 20s. I read what we called back then chick lit. So I was always into romance, women's fiction type of novels. And I think I'm kind of doing a 360 and just circling back to that vibe. I'm not sure why. I am loving it. As for shop news, festival season is officially over. The trailer is back. Again, it did break down a couple times on one of my Virginia shows, and it took a while to get it back, but it is fixed. it is back on the property, and I'm happy to have it home, safe and sound. You can get book club colorways all summer long on the website. There is, of course, the Drift DK. That new base comes in, I don't know, there's probably like 20 different colors already. There should be enough for a sweater's quantity of it. It does have yardage of a sport weight yarn, but it does better at a DK gauge. So it's pretty versatile whether you need a sport or a DK. But just know you're getting a lot more, you're getting that sport yardage on it, even though it really does best at a DK weight gauge. Is there something on your radar book-wise that you think I should be reading? Again, I'm really in this kind of romance era, I guess. And of course, I love a good thriller. No mysteries, just thrillers. But thrillers and romance seem to be where it's at for me lately. And then what are you casting on? I'd love to know, because I obviously have a bit of cast-on-itis to partake in this week. So until next time, friends, happy making and happy reading.